You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are exploring our mission statement, letting the Eucharist lead. We have already talked about how we are really in a big Eucharistic procession our whole life, following Jesus and allowing Jesus to work through us. Yesterday, we looked at the sacrifice of the Mass and how Jesus is truly present there. How wherever there is a priest and the sacrifice of the Mass is being said, Jesus is truly there in the Eucharist. Today, we are going to talk about adoration. Now, of course, we encounter the Eucharist at Mass, but we can also go and spend time with Jesus in adoration. If you haven't ever been to adoration, here is what you can expect. Usually, adoration takes place in a smaller chapel or in a church in a time when Mass is not being said. There is a ceremony for exposing the Eucharist, meaning a host that has been consecrated at Mass, that is the true presence of Jesus Christ, that circle of bread that is no longer bread, but truly Jesus. It is exposed, meaning it is usually placed into a little circle behind glass, a little golden case, and that case fits into a monstrance. Now, most monstrances sort of look like a flaming sun. Golden pieces shoot out in every direction, and in the center, of course, is Jesus in the Eucharist. These usually sit up, they are placed on an altar, and it is placed there with incense, sometimes burning candles, and we sing certain songs when we expose Jesus in the Eucharist. But as the Eucharist sits there, people are invited to come in and pray. Perhaps you or your parents go to a holy hour where you say, I will be at the chapel from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. every Wednesday to pray with Jesus exposed in the Eucharist. That is an example of a holy hour. So that is what adoration is, but why do we do this in the Catholic Church? Well, we can understand that by looking at the word adoration. Now, you probably hear at the beginning, there is the word adore. Adore is a form of love. Sometimes when people are really in love, they misuse the word and they'll say something like, oh, I adore you. Well, and that's fine, but really the proper way to use the word adore is when we're talking about the way that we love God. We can only love people or love something in an adoring way when we are so small and they are so big. The word adore is the way that we love God. So when we go to adoration, it is an act of love, a small act of love that we can give to Jesus. To understand this even better, I want you to think about the friends that you have in your life. Now, when you first met these friends, maybe on the first day of school or the first time that you saw each other in your neighborhood, chances are you weren't very close with each other. It took a little bit of time to break the ice, to get to know each other, to trust each other, and then even more time to have funny stories that you shared or to develop games that you both like to play. All friendships require time. In fact, we're never going to establish a friendship with someone if we don't ever spend any time with them. And this is the same is true with Jesus. We go to adoration to spend time with him. We know that Eucharist displayed in adoration is not just a piece of bread. We don't need to go spend time with a piece of bread. No, through the sacrifice of the Mass, this is truly Jesus Christ. And we go to adoration to spend time with Him. We can spend time sharing about our struggles, sharing about our victories, sharing about our worries. Or we can just go and sit in the silence and ask Jesus for His peace, because He is the source, the absolute source of peace. Now, it might be a little bit difficult for you to sit still and be with Jesus for a full hour, and that is fine. But I have a challenge for you, Sprouts. I want you to really, really think about the fact that adoration, that host exposed, is truly Jesus. And I challenge you, the next time that you are in the vicinity around where adoration is taking place, or if you never are where they are doing adoration, the next time that you are near a tabernacle where Jesus is inside, I want you to do one small act of adoration. I want you to look either directly at the tabernacle or directly at the host and say, Jesus, I love you. Because that is what adoration is. Showing, demonstrating that we love Jesus.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be.
Just one more thing. I would like to formally welcome you to Season 2 of the Catholic Sprouts podcast. This year, we are going to be offering an opportunity to go even deeper with the content that we share here. We have started a Patreon community, and for just $4 a month or $1 a week, you can have access to a printable activity to do in your family or classroom that will explore even deeper what we're talking about on the podcast. Along with this, we will also be compiling a simple sheet for parents so that they can explore similar content, look at adult topics on this content, and also form simple but beautiful communities in real life to discuss these things and really bond together as we work together to grow the saints of tomorrow. For more details on the Patreon community, I invite you to explore the show notes for this episode.